to kick the party off of the sharing party off?
I'll go since I know there's going to be a really long and awkward silence if I don't, so I'll go. Okay, so hi, I'm Ulu Laipa'a. It's nice to meet you. So for my thing, I focused on the instructions, but I did make some changes to some of the testing stuff because I felt like one, it'd be a bit easier to explain, and two, I just felt like it could be a bit more efficient. So the first thing that or my main inspiration for my instructions was with my interview with my grandmother. She talked about, I asked her a bunch of questions about instructions and what kinds she finds the most efficient and such. And she talked about like simple, short, and clear pieces of instruction. That's what she finds the most useful. So I decided to focus on something like that. My ideas were, for when I was ideating, I mainly just came up with as many different ways someone could give instructions to someone as possible. So things like step-by-step instructions with pictures, or like a list of things to do, or a speaker, or one thing I said was like miming out kind of like with hand gestures, like saying, oh, drink this thing, you'd mime it out like drink it, or glug glug. But I focused on the step-by-step with images. But some other kids also mentioned stuff like having the instructions on the box, so that way you wouldn't waste as much paper, or having a website. And so with my prototype, let me just share my screen so people can kind of see it a bit better. My main prototype was a box with some instructions on it, and then here's my actual instructions. So let me make them a bit bigger. So I mainly went with the step-by-step images. I tried to use as little words as possible for most of the instructions. I decided to have a little warning thing to remind people what not to do beforehand. And I also added a materials list because I like those. They're very useful if you forget something or you lost something, or just knowing what's there. So I tried my best to do images for that. Hold on, technical difficulties. Sorry, zooming in my screen kind of sucks. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to stop sharing quickly. I think. I apologize for the technical issues. I should remember to not zoom in while on Google Slides. I do apologize. Oh, okay, so back to the thing. So my main differences for the COVID testing is one, having a cap, because I noticed that there wasn't one, and I felt like not having one didn't make any sense. It would make it a lot easier to do things like a mix, like you're mixing up and down, shaking it like that. It would stop spillage too. I was inspired by some other tests and such, for examples of tests, and they had a funnel. And I found that very convenient, so that way when you're pouring in the solution, then you're less likely to spill it by accident, since there is more of a space for you to pour. And then finally a test tube stand, because I felt like if I'm holding a thing and I have a funnel, I might, knowing me, I'd end up like tipping it over or something by accident and end up spilling it anyways, even if there was a funnel, or getting distracted and dropping it by accident or anything like that. But if you have a test tube stand, then it can just hold it really easily, just boom, doesn't move at all. You can just pour it in. So yeah, that's here's my here's my box, the physical prototype. You can see I taped it on to the box. If it was real, it'd probably be printed onto the box, so it wouldn't just be a thing taped onto it. And during our brainstorming sessions, we came up with an idea where there's both paper instructions and instruction in the box in case the box gets damaged. So, or you throw away the box. So that way there's two things of instructions. So if something happens to the paper, you have the instruction on the box. Or if something happened to the box, you have your paper instructions. The final thing is on the bottom, it has if you need more help, go to inserturl.com. It's basically a thing where if you need more help, you can go to a website that hasn't been created yet. And I really like Kepa's website. He will sooner or later present, but his website is really good. And if this was real, or if I knew the link, I'd put his link in. So, thank you.
Wow, that was excellent. You put a lot of thought into the process, and I think as you even went through and read out the instructions, you kind of improved upon them and added different changes to the kit as you saw fit. What do you think some next steps you might do are?
Some next steps? Well, I think it would be making a more efficient design for the instructions, since my instructions, they could always be improved. Like, I have a little passage that mentions what you should do if it says you're positive, but maybe that could be put more simply, or simplify it more, or improving the warnings, because it's kind of simple and you can gloss over it, or printing it in color because mine is not in color.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's a really great prototype that you can take to people and ask them, do these instructions make sense? Are there any parts that are confusing or difficult? And then once they tell you the parts that are confusing or difficult, you can kind of try to come up with better ideas for it too. But I think you're off to a really, really great idea and start there.
Thank you.
Yeah, you've done a lot, and it's really great. I think I'd be curious to see when you start testing, and once you give somebody the prototype, and and you let them just kind of go through it, you'll learn a lot, right? You won't have a chance many times. You won't be there when people actually use your product. So being able to get it to the point where you could actually just give it to them even the way it is right now, and then you can learn a lot just from that feedback. Okay. Great job.
Thank you.
So that signals the end of our presentation. The next person can jump in. Sounds like we have another guest as well, so welcome. Another Kumu, I believe.
Hey, Brandon.
Aloha.
Aloha, ina hamana, ikekumu. Ikalamai, I forgot my password. Took me a while to get it.
No problem. It looks like you're joining us from Kailua.
Lovely Kailua Beach. Yep, born and raised.
I grew up on that beach, kind of. So we're just in between presenters right now, so we're waiting for the next student to go ahead and start.
I guess I'll go next. So what my main focus was, or what I noticed was when I interviewed my person is that they would rather have multiple mediums of instructions. So it'd be like easier to find because we tend to make many assumptions when making something. So I just figured that I would change a little bit of the instructions. So this is my prototype, my box. And on the front, there's a QR code that'll take you to a website. So like if you're tech savvy, you can use the instructions on that website. And on the back of the box, there are instructions for what to do, like on all the steps on the outside the box. And I used color. So Uncle Ian shared that sometimes when you use color, it sends messages to other people. So I use color, like red means like stop. So you read it before you take the test. And there's also colors next to the steps because inside the box, there's audio instructions where the colors are correspondent to the steps on the back. So you know like which color you need to press for the steps. And also for visually impaired people, there's Braille underneath the steps. So you can press it and it gives you audio instructions. And there's also just regular old-fashioned manual instructions. And something else I included was that there's what's in the kit, so you know that you have everything, so you can make sure you have everything, and how to use or how everything goes together and how to use it. So, yeah.
Nice job. That's awesome. I love how you're thinking about how everything goes together, like the use of color in the different locations. Oftentimes, you're right, like color is a great visual indicator for us. And if things are the same color, we think that they're the same type of thing. So I wonder how else you could use color to help people walk through the different instructions or the different places they could look. So I love how you did the red as stop, read this first, but what does it mean? What do you want them to read second? Or what do you want them to read third? And how might you use color to do that? And I think you could test it out really easily.
I like how you said, if you're tech savvy, like if you're tech, and so you provided all kinds of other ways for people to access and understand how to use the test kit. So that was really nice. And again, I like the fact that you build something, it's big, I can see it. So when you're testing, especially if people are not with you, that you build something so that, you could put it up and actually could see it and stuff. So that was really nice. Great job.
I'll go next, if that's okay. Hi, my name is Emmy Wonder, and I decided to focus on the instructions and specifically how the instructions would have different options. And so the idea I had was to have instructions in different languages with pictures and then a QR code that would lead to an instructional video. So this is my final prototype. The left side is the front of the paper and then the right side is the back. The languages I chose to do is English, Spanish, and Chinese. And then the small picture on the bottom right corner would kind of is like the instructional video, I guess. So there would be subtitles and it would be available in Spanish and Chinese as well. My targeted audience was someone who couldn't read and didn't speak English. So by having a video and multiple languages, my targeted audience would be able to use the Ocean kit.
Yeah, it seems like you're really covering all of the different bases there, which I think is really cool because it's really important for us to be able to explain to people how to use our kit. So I think by covering different languages, also by using like a lot of pictures and things like that, and having a video, you're really helping people understand no matter how they best learn. I'm curious if you have the chance to get to try it with one of your target audience members, so maybe someone who doesn't read very well, or is a language that's maybe not shown.
Emmy, did you draw all of that? And then the translation piece, is that actual translation?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. It looks really good. I was like, wow, this looks really like professional almost, you know? It's like, wow, you did a great, a lot of work. Fantastic. I just, you know, kind of blown away. Really, really impressive. Yeah, I think with Jimmy, the same thing is, you know, before you go any further is, you know, kind of get in front of somebody and let them kind of walk through the instructions and see if they can understand. You can learn a lot. That's great.
Yeah. The other thing you can do is you can test out the video idea, which I think is a really great idea and something we need to figure out at Ocean It. Like what kind of video do people like, but you could just record yourself doing something. Or another thing I've seen people do, since you're so talented at drawing, is you can draw little pictures on sticky notes and flip through them while recording. And that's another way that I've seen people do like fake slides or videos. So I would try both of those out and then take that to people and see which one people prefer and what they like or don't like about it.
That would be cool to see for on your Thursday presentation, like a 30-second thing or something. That'd be cool.
She's done a really good job at iterating. And Kumul Edward, if you want to jump in, then please feel free to go ahead and lend some feedback as well.
Yeah, I'm just so amazed. I know I've just seen two presenters so far, but I'm really impressed. I think, well, first on Emmy Wonder, your name is like entrepreneur in the making alone. But I was thinking about the video idea, right? Since you chose, I think you said English, Spanish, and Chinese. You know, would the video be more of a kind of through body motion, right? Maybe not with captions that could be in different languages, right? Or like Jimmy was saying, maybe some real simple visual cues. Therefore, it could be translated to any language. I think the combination really does meet the needs of the client you were trying to address. So great job and wonderful illustrations.
I'll go next. Sorry. Hi, my name is Makala Pua, and I decided to focus on designing a prototype. So this is my prototype. I designed it to be similar to a breathalyzer. So instead of using a lot of spit like the traditional test, it would just analyze what's in your breath. It has a retractable mouthpiece to prevent bacteria contamination and to keep it compact. So this would be the open position, and this is the closed position. And to use it, you would just exhale. You just exhale into point A for 3 to 5 seconds.
And on the inside is an air quality index at point G to analyze what's in your breath. And that information would send on screen to show the results. So there's also Braille on it and a speaker for visually impaired people. And the instructions in Braille read 2 beeps is positive and 1 beep is negative, so they know what the results say. My feedback had admiration for the idea of breath and how it could be accessed by people who may be blind, but there was also some concerns about how it could be expensive. For my iteration process, since price was a contributing part of my feedback, I decided to make my design a one-use only so that the price would be lowered and could prevent cross-contamination. From my final prototype, I kept the original design of it and added a mass air sensor so you could keep track of how much air goes into it, so it could be one use only, and to prevent inhaling instead of exhaling. So yeah, that concludes my prototype idea.
That's awesome. That's a really cool idea. I don't think I've ever thought about trying to make a breathalyzer example or a test like that. I'm curious, did you get a chance to prototype it physically with people?
I have it right here. It's kind of a bad example, but I put a little tab at the bottom.
Yeah.
Right here, and that would control the mouthpiece of extending and put it back in.
Yeah, nice. I would say get it in front of people as soon as possible. Yeah, one of the things you said, oh, it's kind of bad, but it's not. It's perfect. It's super easy, super quick to test out. And the good part about not spending a lot of time on a prototype is if someone says, hey, this doesn't work for me, you didn't spend a lot of time on it. So you can just make something that works for them and try something new and faster, and you'll actually get a better result at the end of it. So I would say never worry that your prototype is bad, because there's no such thing as a bad prototype. A bad prototype just is something you don't test with people. I think that's the only type of bad prototype.
Thank you.
I love the fact that you totally came up with a different approach to doing the tests. There are actually, this is a great idea, because you do have like alcohol breathalyzers. There are people developing breath kind of tests to determine if somebody has lung cancer. Certain types of diseases very hard to detect, and unfortunately, by the time you detect these conditions, many times they've progressed so much that people can't survive. So great concept, love the idea. And again, on Jimmy's point, yeah, like testing it out sooner than later. And when you have a low resolution prototype, it's not a problem, because it's like, okay, I spent 30 cents in 30 minutes, so I don't feel so bad if I have to change it or have to go in a different direction. But great outside the box thinking. That's really fantastic. makes you think about the next evolution of our test kit. Great job.
Yeah, Makalapua, I love too the fact that you came from a different angle, and I think people are kind of ma'a or accustomed to, those kinds of tests. And you paid a special attention to like the hygienic nature of it, right? The whole idea of the single use and the popping out and pulling in the air. I think, it'd be unfortunate, right, for us to create a tool that's meant to help our health when it actually can make things worse if we're not, mindful of it. So you were really on the ball with that. And again, I just like the fact that you were thinking about folks who had different, levels of ability. So the beeping and the braille, I think that adds, right, to making sure you're understanding the results. Great work.
I'll go next. Great. Okay, so I am focused on trying to prototype these instructions. These instructions really, I saw you guys put pictures on it, but I want to make it for a little modern day. So right here, we all know we have your phone. I'm going to share my screen. So my prototype was a QR code. These were all drawn, and it took me 2 hours to try to exactly match it. So it's a really rough. But my technical diagram here tells you all about what my everything that's broken down into a QR code, which sends it. The use diagram over there shows you how you'll use it. You'll take your phone, you'll scan it, it'll go straight to my website. That'll show you all of that. So you guys were probably thinking, what's my website? Well, take your mobile device right here, take out your camera, point it to the QR code. That QR code should open it up straight to a website, which I'll go to now. This website here is not only for the Assure 19 test, but it's also for many things that other people are worried about. So if we go down, it'll show you about, and it'll show you a bunch of great things, but morely, here's what it's coming down to. Over here, it takes you to a video that Hawaii News Now had with your guys, CEO of Ocean DT, that showed what the Assure 19 test is, so they can learn more about it to see if they're interested. Right next to it is the case counts globally. So wherever they are, they can find the case counts and make sure that they're staying safe during this COVID times. But then, my favorite one, the next page, instructions. Instructions will be broken down to 3. Learn more about Ocean DT and about the test as well, because they made it. Then protect yourself. This one is one of my favorites. These links all work, and this one actually takes you to a Duke mask study that I had to study earlier this year about which masks are the best. But another thing is we used the picture instructions that Uncle Ian gave us, but I put it onto a page so more people can read it and all. Because I guess Wix doesn't let you add pictures right into the website. So I made a whole Google Doc where I basically showed the picture instructions just in case you get uninformed. But if you think that's the only instructions we have, the Hawaii News Now video that I told about you guys earlier in this presentation, it actually has a video about how to do it. The Bridget Namata, the person who was reporting on that, she actually showed you how to shake it and how to do it everything right. So overall, this right here is my final prototype. It took me about 3 days to design this, and I'm very happy about what I have designed. Thank you.
Nice job. That's awesome. I mean, you did such a good high fidelity prototype. You can go out and test that with people right away, and you've already got the links right there. I would say you just need to go and test it and start refining, figure out what are the things that people want to learn from it and how are people using the website and what are things that they're looking for that aren't there. And just start collecting that feedback and update it.
Yeah, same here. Great job. Very, it's kind of a working prototype already. You can just send it out, send the links out, and let people kind of explore and give you feedback. That's really great. Love it. Good job.
Yeah, mahalo, Chasen. I was thinking, part of this process, right, is obviously people want to get tested for their own, security and knowledge, their family, whatnot. But I had met the director of innovations from Taiwan in these webinars that you end up going to. And anyway, what your presentation showed me is that there's an opportunity here to actually, be part of a community. So yes, you want to know your individual results, but maybe you want to be able to store your results up there. Maybe you want to see how things are happening in your neighborhood. Maybe you want to track things. And that was one of the biggest, I guess, takeaways in Taiwan and how they've managed to keep the levels down so much is they share the data constantly. And data not just about cases, but about where masks are, where masks are needed. And it just seems like to me, you're onto something that there probably is like another value in creating some kind of a community or forum for people to load their information, see their information, whatnot. Just some thoughts. Great job though.
All right, I think I'll go. Hi, my name's Keanu Kaneko, and I partnered with my classmate Jace Poi Poi, and we'll be talking about our at-home COVID-19 saliva test kit prototypes.
Hi, my name is Jace Poi Poi, and so what we decided to do is we wanted to redesign everything. So basically, up here, these three pictures are a booklet, a paper booklet that's going to be included in the box. So as you can see in the front, we didn't decide what our company name is, so we just put a default logo. And then when you open it, it has what's inside the box and all the steps, which my partner will be talking about. If you look in the back, it has an about us, also a QR code and a contact information. I don't know if you can see that. And also we decided to include a thank you when you shop at our kit or buy our kit. And this is our QR code, which leads to the website I made. So basically just like basically the instructions, but on a technical part and about us. And I'm gonna give it to my partner.
Yes, I have the prototype with me, and I'll be explaining more about it. So first, you get the box, take everything out of the box, make sure you have everything: the tube, the instructions, little speaker, and the stick it includes. So the instructions, we had visuals, and just in case you can't read, we included a speaker that explains all the steps easier, and we included visuals. But when you take the test, what you're gonna want to do is like open the lid, and there's a fill line, and then put your saliva and keep spitting until it fills to the line, and then grab the stick, which pushes down the latch, and then you basically wait for the saliva to hit the bottom of the tube. Then you close it, pack everything up, and send it back to us, and you'll get your results within 2 to 4 days. Thank you.
Nice job. I like the teamwork that you guys were doing. It seemed like you divided the work really well. One thing I wonder about that I think would make this even better, I like the idea of putting the speaker in the box. I wonder if how people will know that what that speaker does and how they'll use that. So if you could go and prototype that with people and check like how, is everyone going to click the speaker? Is no one going to click it? Are they going to worry about how do I turn it on? What is it going to start saying when I open it? Like what if it just starts playing random music or something, right? Like most people wouldn't want that. So I'm curious about how you encourage people to use the speaker and tell them what it's going to do before it actually does it, maybe when they're not able to read.
I also like the fact that you guys got together and teamed up. Many times, we have to do things individually, but ultimately we're part of a team. So coordinating and working together and communicating and sharing the work. But at the same time, things have to come together. Very important element. So I like that a lot. I wonder how you could incorporate the actual detection piece into your prototype. So you don't actually have to mail away the saliva. You can actually do the detection work right then and there. Great job.
Yeah, Ian, you're right on. I was curious too if there was a benefit for like take the breathalyzer version, and this version. Would this one give me more high level of confidence, right? Because you're dealing with just more saliva, right? So maybe it is an option on the market too that people might want to go for something like this that maybe they do send away and have a lab look at it versus the rapid. So there could be a market for each. But yeah, I was just very curious to see if it is possible to get more of the rapid response. That might be something to consider too.
Okay.
Good work, guys. Good teamwork.
I'll go. Hi, my name's Josh. I focused my work on deaf people, and I've also focused on how they could understand and learn about the COVID kit more easier. So let me screen share.
Did he freeze on us? Oh, there you are. Okay.
Like it's more easier for people to learn. Some feedback I got was QR codes give it more detail and information. Wonders was if a deaf person reads this, will it really benefit them and help them understand a little bit better? Some dislikes I got was I should talk about more of the people I'm targeting and add detail to make it more learnable for deaf kupuna. Some what ifs I got was I could add color coding and make it more easier to understand. Also make the words big and bold. So with that, here's my final product. So right here is my title in bold words, and right here is a universal image. So it basically means like it's meant for deaf people. And right here I color coded, so I did like QR code are in green, red are in important detail, and blue are in steps. And I put this arrow right here to show like this have to look at it so they can switch to the next page. For the green, this is the QR code, so they're in English, Portuguese, and Japanese. And right here in the red, I put what's in the kit, and I put emergency use only for intended use only. Those are important details. And for right here in blue, I put the instructions and steps to follow. And that is my prototype. Thank you.
Nice job, Josh. You cut out a little bit in the middle, so I missed some of it. But one thing I just wanted to say that I really liked was how you set up your feedback. I think that was a really key element that I could see, where you put your likes, your dislikes, and your ideas. That's like a framework I use when I'm working and getting feedback from people. I say like, okay, what are things people liked? What are things people disliked? What are I wish, I wondered? And that's a really good way to just kind of understand the feedback that you get, because otherwise it's sometimes hard to figure out, okay, well, they said this, but what did they really mean? So I just thought that was a really cool frameworking idea.
Sorry, I got interrupted by my cat, so I didn't get all of what you did, Josh. Yeah, including part of it I couldn't hear, but from what I could see, you did a tremendous amount of work. I think just the fact of all the elements that you did, to me was very impressive. And again, kind of just seeing what Jimmy, as we always say, kind of like, try and get some feedback as soon as you can with some end users. Great job. Very impressive.
Yeah, mahalo, Joshua. I think just to echo what they said, it seemed like you took the steps to heart, which is, kind of think up some ideas, then test it, get the feedback, and iterate. I mean, I hope you saw the evolution of the product, as you built it and kind of refined it, because it looked really crisp, at the end. And again, just I think caring for, those in our community that have impairments, I have kupuna that we aren't deaf, but they're close to it. So just knowing that you guys are thinking about that population is really makes me feel great. So mahalo.
Okay, I guess I'll go next. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so my name is Momi, and this is what my idea was for my presentations. 1 second, it's not working. Okay. So for my problem statement, I had an elderly person that needs an easy way to see and understand directions because of bad eyesight, and because they have many medications and usually doesn't bother with reading complicated instructions. I didn't really get to doing an interview, but I based everything off of what I see firsthand with my grandfather. He has lots of medical conditions, so he takes lots of pills and shots and almost anything you could think of. So I've seen him just stab himself with a needle and just walk away, and he doesn't read any instructions and stuff like that. So I mainly focused on trying to make it easier and appealing so if people would want to look at the instructions and do it right. So my idea, specifically I focused on improving the second step of the instructions, which was collecting the 10 milliliters of saliva. The idea I had at the beginning was using pictures, like a pictogram. And some of the feedback I had gotten from peers was maybe make it as simple as possible so it's appealing and make it physical somehow. And after looking at that feedback, that's when I got the idea of making a picture to scale in the instructions. I got the idea of to scale because I was trying to think of how it would be easy to relate and what people would be used to every day. So I thought about how lots of products and product advertisement, they will blow up the proportions so it's bigger than it seems, and it always has the fine print saying not to scale. And then sometimes products like to show stuff to scale. So I thought that that would be a good idea. So the improvements I made were to make the picture to scale to what collects the 10 milliliters of saliva. That's when I had the idea that the to scale picture could be a reference to the amount of saliva needed. So instead of having to look at a small line, you can hold up what collects the saliva right up to the instructions and see a clear indication of the amount of saliva needed. I came up with that idea more in depth because usually when I'm baking or cooking something, when it says like 1 cup of milk and you're trying to mark it right at that line, but you missed the line or something, it's really frustrating. And it just makes me give up, but I don't really care about the measurements after that. So my prototype in the end was my used diagram that we used for our design thinking project. The problem I focused on was the second step of the instructions, which was collecting the saliva. And since my prototype is aiming for someone that it has a hard time seeing small things and details, my idea was to have the second step picture to scale so they can hold up what collects the saliva to the instructions to see the 10 milliliters indicated, instead of having to look at a small line. Okay, done.
Moe, I love how you kind of picked this very specific idea and it seemed like you went into a deep dive for it. And it's a real issue. It's something that we've been thinking about. How do we let people know how much saliva to have? And I think your idea of just having a one-to-one picture is really great. You seem to have a lot of really good intuition and observation abilities, which is really cool to see you use and leverage. And while your prototype seems simple, I think it's exactly the kind of prototype that helps us understand and be able to test with people. So yeah, now I just say, go to your grandpa or go to the other people around you and try to figure out, hey, is this working for them?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I don't have anything more to add to that, but yeah, just really impressive. Yeah, just really good job. And I like again that you really took a sliver of something and you really kind of focused on that and you explored that and keep exploring that area. That was really great, because I think a lot of times we think we have to do everything. We may have to start looking at the broader picture, but then kind of narrowing it down and kind of taking a deeper dive into something I think was really great approach.
Thank you.
Yep, I totally agree. One word I learned last year that I love is called smallify. Make something smaller. It's a made-up word, but aren't all words made up? But I think that's the point Ian's trying to make, is sometimes if you try to tackle everything, that's probably the biggest impediment to success or even getting further, is just over-designing things. But you went into literally step 2 and said, how can I re-engineer step 2? And I think that was fantastic. And it started with your own family, right? I mean, you see the need. So that, to me, the empathy was built. You went in, you smallified it, and you were able to get something, that I think is going to be really meaningful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just one more build off what Brandon just said that is really key and something you did really well and a couple other people have done. Just paying attention to the people around you and the problems that they're having is such an important skill for everyone who's trying to help people, right? Like the problem is we all get very used to it and we might not realize, my grandpa has this stuff going on, but that's just normal, right? Like everyone has that, but it's not, right? Like everyone has different lives and different experiences with people. And so becoming aware and thinking about, okay, what am I experiencing and what can I see around me and how might we make that better is such an important skill. And I think you did that really well too.
Thank you.
I'll go next. Aloha, my name is Malia, and this is my design thinking project. So I really wanted to focus on the test itself. So for my test, I wanted a retractable mouthpiece just to keep it clean. And in the retractable mouthpiece, there'd be a pad just to make it easier so you wouldn't have to really spit and it could get really messy. So you would just insert it into your mouth and it would just soak everything up for you. Then I wanted to have 3 different lights. The first light would come on to show you that it's working. The second light will come on to show you that it's halfway. And the third light will come on to show you that it's done. Also, when it's done, it will have a beeping noise just to alert the user that it's done. And there will be a screen to show you a bold, positive, or negative. I really wanted to focus on kids because just seeing my little cousin with like any medicine or food, he doesn't want to eat it or put it in his mouth. So I really wanted to make it fun just for little kids and design them as crayons. So I would have a box with 5 different tests just in case you mess up, and different colors just to make it more fun and the little kid would want to actually use it. On the box, there would be pictures and instructions. There would also be Braille for those who are visually impaired. And I was also thinking about having just a fun fact on the back or a joke for the little kids. And there would also be a QR code, a website, a phone number, and an email for any further questions. And I also had some other ideas and designs for the test itself, like candy, like maybe a race car or something, and also for maybe adults just to make it more fun, have colors and LGBTQ, there could be rainbow, like just lots of different designs to make it more fun. So that's my design. Mahalo.
Nice job. I love how you're thinking about all the different people that this could be targeted towards and thinking about what might be important to them or what make them feel more secure or safe or comfortable doing all of the different steps that you're having them do. And I think that's just a really thoughtful design that a lot of the times people don't think about. The other thing I really liked that you did was you had an indicator light showing when the test was going to be ready and giving people some feedback about it. That's something we're running into right now, is how do we let people know the right amount of time to wait and what do we do while they're waiting so that they don't try to look at the results too early or too late. So I think that's just a really cool idea to have like an indicator light. And I'm thinking how might we have an indicator light on the test that we're making.
Thank you.
I liked that, though the original thought is designing for somebody who's elderly, that you actually went the other way. But in the process of going the other way, I think you actually provide another perspective on how to design stuff, because I could imagine, I love the creativity too, like the crayon box, I could see that actually, oh wow, this would be great. Like if I was a parent, that's what I would be buying for my kids, because there's a version for them and then there's a version for the adults. But I could see almost that same concept being applied across the board. So, I like the fact that you kind of went the other way, and then, but by going the other way, you actually you can come back the other way as well. And so, just very creative, really outside the box. And again, I like that 5-pack kind of design. Very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic, Malia. I would say you totally went with the creativity, let it flow. And again, we're talking about something that in some cases can be kind of scary, right? We're talking about our health and whether or not we have something. But, I believe that increasingly this is going to be part of our lives. Like we're going to need to monitor our health more often. So why not make it fun? Why not make it not so fearful? I think that's a really important thing. I remember early on, if any of you guys have experienced or seen an MRI machine, It's this big machine that you have to go in and lay down when you're getting your body scanned. It's like a really intense X-ray. And it's spooky, you know, for kids who had to go inside this. It's like you're in there for an hour. There's loud noises. You're stuck in a dark place. How they redesigned it was they turned it into a story, and they talked about, first of all, they painted the whole room like a pirate ship. And this was like the belly of the pirate ship that you had to go in, and you had to hide and be very quiet because there were going to be some pirates that come by. And if you stay still and you're quiet, the pirates won't find you, and then you'll get this treasure. So again, it didn't change the technology at all, but it changed the experience of doing it. And I think that's exactly what you did. You made it playful and fun. So great job.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll go. Okay, so my name is Ayla Honda, and what I thought during my process was that when I see an 85-year-old woman that is visually impaired and has arthritis, like I immediately go to how I can make it easier for her. And so my prototype focuses on the test kit part, and the main thing that I focused on improving was holding the test tube stable. Some feedback that my teachers and classmates gave me was to focus on either the test kit or the instructions because I had both and it kind of overcomplicated things. So I just focused it on one part. And my prototype is a test tube holder that holds up the tube that they spit in. It focuses on someone that has arthritis so that they don't have to hold it for too long because I know that having arthritis might make it harder. And so this is my prototype. And then this cardboard acts as the test tube holder. And then the straw would be the test tube. And so they would just put it in like this when they're done. And then it would hold it steady.
Nice job. I think another good example of paring things down to focus on a very specific problem, which is also a really important problem, right? Like there are a lot of people who have limited mobility or dexterity in their hands, and it might be really difficult for them to take the test currently. I think it's a great idea to have some sort of stand. And I also kind of like, I don't know if you did this intentionally or not, but the idea of using cardboard kind of in the end product because you can fold it flat. Like even when I was seeing your little structure, I saw that, oh, you could fold that flat and put it in a box really easily and they could just pop it up when they were ready to use it. So I thought that was really cool. I'd love to just see what happens when you test it with people to know, okay, does this work for people? How could we make it even better than that?
Yeah, I like again as similarly that you kind of focused in, and then actually as you were showing that and as you showed the tube, I thought about the time thing that we keep talking about. In my mind I was like, oh, I wonder if you could add a you know, the little sand thing. You know, you turn the thing upside down and the sand kind of goes through the to the other side. I was thinking about something like that. Like, could you do something, you know? Yes, yeah, a sandglass. You know, it's like that would be something. I don't know. Anyway, great job. Because I think part of the when you do something and you get really specific, sometimes it actually inspires other ideas. It makes people think, and the team think in different ways. And I think that's a great thing when you're in this discovery phase. Anyway, great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, Zyla. A wise man once said, to make choices, you got to create choices. I think it was actually you in one of your workshops that you taught me that. So being able to see things, right, and trying many different ways, I think is all part of the experience. When I saw your stand, I thought kind of like Jimmy was, wow, this is kind of cool. This could be like a real biodegradable you know, materials thing too, and kind of easy. And if you add the sand dimension, that's still biodegradable, you know? So it made me think again, like just for all the other projects, like, is, you know, can we make it in a way that is also environmentally conscious? That'd be fantastic.
Are we waiting for the next presenter? Because I'll go. Okay, let me share my screen. Oh, how do I? share my screen.
If you've never done it before, then you would have had to give your computer permission to share it.
Oh, should I not go next then?
You might need to just show your prototype that you have in hand right now.
Okay, hi, my name is Kiloha Quattro. Here's my design thinking project based on a at-home saliva test kit. I needed to create a prototype to aid my mission. First, I empathized to get a better understanding of our kupuna's perspective and identify struggles or soothings for them. From that, I found that I needed an easily functioning handleable test kit with features that are easy to spot to make it convenient for all users. Some ideas that I had was to display colors, to show the results, to make the results more identifiable, because I thought that or based off of the pregnancy test, like the two lines, sometimes it could be confusing if there is a line or whatever. I also wanted to eliminate the step you had to insert the stick into the saliva tube in the Assures 19 kit, because I thought that would be hard to do for kupunas and handling small things. So, oh, I can't show this. Here's my final prototype. How it works is you spit into this funnel. Wait, can you see it? You spit into this funnel and then you would snap on the cap. Then you would insert it into like the base of the kit, kind of like a key, and then twist it. And when you twist it, there would be like a seal at the bottom of the saliva tube. And when you twist it, it would puncturer would come up like a needle and puncture the seal, allowing the saliva to drain into the kind of base of the kit and mix in with a solution that is absorbed within like a cotton type thing within this part. And then after waiting, results would display on here with a red background with positive and a green background with negative. So that is my prototype.
Nice job. I love how you focused on, again, kind of this usability aspect. One of the things you mentioned is you want to make sure that everyone can use it, and it doesn't let you do things that you're not supposed to be able to do, which is a really good design principle to have. I think with your prototype, I want to see you take it to people and test it out and make even better improvements, because I think it's on the right track to figuring out how do we make sure everyone can use the prototype. So I don't have a ton of suggestions other than keep going. It seems like you're onto something.
Yeah, I like, your prototype is very, very similar to the one that Jimmy is designing. So yeah, I think a lot of what you're doing and the feedback that you get from people could be very helpful for Jimmy, because it's very similar to what we have to do. The fact that how you put it in and how you twist it and all those elements, be very interesting to see the kind of feedback you would get. I wonder about, for everyone, but this idea of the idea of a test that's lays flat and that there's materials in there. I'm just curious if anybody had ideas on how things would flow. Again, there's an absorbent material in there that helps to pull in the saliva and kinds of and basically draws it in. That's actually part of the optimization of the test kit, is how much material goes in there. But just curious if anybody eventually has ideas on reimagining what that internal thing looks like. But anyway, great job.
Hello, I was on mute. Yeah, Kellogg, you really had an engineer's mind. I mean, the way that you were thinking about all the pieces and how it, the needle punctures, and what I thought was really great was, all of those kinds of cues to know that you got it right. Clicking of the cap, clicking and sealing of the bottom. Like, I think that's really important that there's something you could feel or hear or know that you're doing it correct. And then you obviously cared about the colors. We have thermometers now. When my kids are really small, we take their temperature at night. It was really helpful to just take it and the whole thermometer would glow red. You didn't have to know the exact small thing. So I think, again, designing for the kinds of folks we are, the red and green works really well. Nice work.
Thank you.
I guess I'll go. I need to share my screen. I decided to work on a website with instructions. My targeted audience was someone who may not be able to speak English or see well. So I decided to go with a website if they can't see well, because they can always enlarge their screens. Then I started with like a warning. And then over here, there could be a video with like a demonstration and a voiceover for people who may not be good at and
Oh, did she freeze? Yeah, okay. That's what I'm seeing too. Hopefully she'll come back. Hi, Lana, if you can hear us, you froze. Okay. Oh, did she drop off too? Okay, let's go with somebody else and see if she's able to make it back. Does anyone else have anything? Okay.
Okay, so aloha mai kako. My name is Kamakana. And my focus was people that have Alzheimer's, like, because my grandma has a hard time reading English, or like she kind of forgets how to speak English, but she knows how to speak Spanish. So I made a kind of a website, just a simple website. Wait, I have it right here. This is in Spanish. It's just different steps, simple steps on how to do COVID at home testing. I have it in Spanish and in English right here. And then I also made a Google form for feedback from people, like virtual feedback. And that's pretty much mine. That was just mine.
Nice job, Gamakana. One of the things I love is the feedback form. That's something I don't think we've heard yet, but it's so important, especially if we're trying to make, millions and millions and millions of tests. It's really important for us, even once we've, made a product, to figure out how do we keep improving it, because we're not going to make it perfect the first time, and people are going to change. The world is going to change. And so we want to be able to change as quickly as the world is. And one of the great ways to do that is with a feedback form. Because then, people can tell you, oh, this product sucks, but hopefully they tell you why, and then you can fix that. Yeah, also, I think it's a great idea to do the translations in the different languages, and I just want you to test it out with your family members and say, like, hey, does this translation work for you?
Yeah, great job. I wonder, what you did on the feedback thing is It's like, again, hopefully everybody sees what you did. And I wonder, could you incorporate feedback into your test kit? So this is for all the other designers there. Is there a way to incorporate feedback into your design? Right? So literally, as somebody's going through the instructions, and if something is not clear, somehow maybe there's a thing you can do with a marker to indicate the clarity, or it's not so clear, and then maybe, you know, you snap a picture, you send it to us, and you get entered into into a prize or something. I don't know, but some way to, you know, how do you get that constant feedback even after the test gets shipped, so that we can keep improving the instructions and the test itself? So I'm wondering how you can incorporate that kind of feedback into in a more static way in a test in some of your ideas. But anyway, great job, really good.
Yep. Aloha Kamakana. I agree with Jimmy and Ian. I was just thinking, you know, in terms of first of all, I don't know if you did those drawings or if those are part of the standard thing, because they're really slick. But I saw how you also kind of streamlined the language to be really kind of clear, right? So I think part of the process of, even in, you know, in English or whatever language, it is about being precise, but it's also about being simple. And I think that that'd be something you could test and get kind of feedback on in terms of what's really clear. And then I was just going back to the other example of like the crayons and whatnot. I was wondering, yeah, if these were 4 different languages, you could bring in kind of cultural motifs, designs, you know, things. I think that would be pretty cool too, you know, so people feel comfortable, you know, kind of taking it. And trust me, there's big money involved in like anthropological marketing around products because you want it to speak to them culturally. So anyway, great work, Kamuka.
I see that Kaimana is back. Do you want to try again?
Sure.
Okay.
My computer is kind of not doing well with sharing the screen.
Nada, you can just go ahead and share out loud.
Okay, I'll just put the link inside the chat.
Perfect.
Okay, so I decided to focus on the instructions. My targeted person was a person who may not speak English or not see that well. So I decided to make a website because you can always like enlarge it. And then I put a video that you could put a demonstration and a voiceover so people can follow along if they're not good with instructions as well. For my instructions, I just put the pictures from Ocean and their instructions because I didn't really want to redesign anything. And then I made the same website in Spanish and in French. Yeah, that's it.
Nice. This is awesome. I love how big everything is, because I think it just really speaks to your target population, right? You're like, hey, we're making this specifically for people who have trouble seeing. We're going to make sure that, you know, everyone can see it. So I think that was just, I don't know, it kind of makes me think, okay, how can we bring over elements of this into the test that we're designing? Like, can we use just like big stuff as a way to design for people that have trouble seeing?
Yeah, it's yeah. I like the big aspect of it, which for you as young people, it doesn't really it doesn't seem like what's the big deal. But you know, someday when you get older, you realize that your eyes are not going to be perfect 20/20 vision anymore, and that looking at things gets harder and harder. It gets, you know, small things get harder to see. But this again makes me think in different ways, and that's part of what's really great about early design work, is that it inspires you to go in different directions. So if I had to have a low-tech way to show a group of 20 people the instructions, I would blow this up, right? I would take your thing and blow it up as a poster really big and put it up on the walls at the airport, so all these people who have to learn how to do the test kit They just literally get the test, and then the instructions are posted up on the wall on big posters, and they're all over the airport. So you literally, a group of people could gather in front of these things and figure out, oh, this is how I use the test kit. So anyway, great job.
I like that idea, Ian. And Kaimana, great work on the 3 websites. I mean, taking it and translating it to 3 different languages. I think sometimes the more we do that, we actually understand what we're talking about from a different perspective, because language is so important. I don't speak Spanish or French, but, thinking about how we would translate this into Hawaiian and what kind of cultural norms or images would be useful, I just think it's a good habit to imagine. And you have a real knack for website design. It's really, really clean. Great.
Okay, last call for presenters. Your last chance to present.
I get to
Okay.
on my design or my prototype still in the library.
Last call for anybody else? Okay, so Dylan, you're not going to present anything? Is that correct?
I'm gonna present Thursday.
The expectation was today and Thursday. So if you're not going to present, we need to know now.
I'll go. Do I go?
Go for it.
All right, last call for presenters.
Well, I focused my design, or hi, my name is Dylan, and I focused my design on the instructions. I specifically focused on improving how my design can solve my main problem. Feedback I got from classmates and teachers were to be more direct on what problem I'm solving and to look more at the actual COVID testing. This is how I iterated to come up with my final product, which is being shown here. My prototype is targeting people with impaired or poor vision, and I wanted the idea of picture instructions for those who either can't see the words, are better as visual learners, or just find it easier to see what's happening. I also added Braille as a way for blind people to understand what to do and included Spanish as well.
Nice job. Can you keep showing your screen? Sorry, I was still just kind of looking at it, looking over everything that you were doing there. I like how you're thinking about different ways for people to do it. I'm curious, do you have any ideas on how to get Braille on the instructions? Because I think that's one thing I've seen a lot of is people are really interested in Braille, but I'm curious if you guys have any ideas on how to get Braille. Like, should it go on a piece of paper? Like, how does that work? Or should we try to put it on the box maybe?
Probably on like the box.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we just need to, one thing that'd be helpful is I think if you could just try it on different surfaces or in different places, then you could go and share it with people. And then you could find out where people like to read it the best.
I really like what you did. And in fact, what I was trying to do is imagine I'm not even looking at the word, the letters or the words, and I'm just looking at the images. And can I understand what this image is? The first image, and actually part of it too is the flow, right? Is if I couldn't really read or understand numbers, would I know to go to the right and then down to the left? Like how steps goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So in my mind, I'm trying to imagine, I'm just looking at these really great drawings. In fact, your third step where you have the shaking thing is really interesting. you know, like how do you show shaking, right? And the number of times you shake, stuff like that. So anyway, I really, again, like in all of everybody's cases, right, is you have really great prototypes, lots of work went into them at this point, and now start testing them out, try them out with actual users and get feedback from the fields. But great job.
Yep, Dylan, it's Brandon here. Thanks for sharing. This reminds me again of like, there's a kind of a famous YouTube video of a TED Talk where they talked about how to make toast. I think it's basically a guy goes around asking people how to make toast. And essentially, you know, you can either have 22 steps or you can have like, you know, 3 steps, but they found out there's like 4 or 5 steps in making toast. So I think these steps that you kind of got to here is really important. Like, what are the key things, right? And again, this may be what was kind of already there or you're kind of working with them, but I would challenge all of us to think, yeah, like what are those essential steps that when we're doing this, we got to make sure it happens. So really, really good. And if you know how to put Braille on printed surfaces, yeah, let me know. That'd be really interesting.
Thank you.
It looks like that wraps it up. Thanks for staying a little bit. There was some pausing going on that kept us from finishing on time. But students, we're going to do this again on Thursday for a different audience. So you have one more chance if you want to go ahead and iterate one more time. If you don't want to, then you're going to be doing the same presentation. But I think you got some great feedback today. We will be hopefully kept up to date if any of your ideas make it to the final production. Kumu Dave, did you want to say anything at all?
No, I just think everybody did a great job. And one of the interesting things I was noticing, you know, is that everybody was really solution-based. You know, we never went toward what is lacking in this product. You know, it's just taking what was good and then trying to find a solution to you know, address a different audience. And wouldn't it be great, you know, not to be too deep, but if we all thought like that every day, you know how much better the world would be if we just were solution-based like that all the time.
Hey, give yourselves a hand or a virtual hand.